Hi guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. I am so excited. Today is Wednesday, and Wednesday we get to teach and we get to go deep into the quantum fields. I'm so excited for today's guest because he is a master at recoding your DNA and understanding how to manifest the life of your dreams. We are going to go deep into understanding your emotional body, your mental body, and your physical body and your energetic body, and what that looks like when you are dancing with the universe. Thank you guys so much for being here on the live. Thank you for being on the replay. My name is Noelle Agape. I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. I'm a quantum energy trainer and NLP trainer, and I am literally here to tell you that we are going to change your life. We're going to set your soul on fire and ignite that passion within. I want to bring our guest in right away because he's so incredible. He's magnetic. He's this beautiful force of light in this world. Joey Kramer, he literally is a quantum master. He teaches people how to tap into their reality and create the life of their dreams by decoding their DNA. And it is the coolest thing in the world to me because, on this show, we talk deep quantum stuff. So I'm going to bring him right in so you have all the time that you have in the world for him. Hi, Joey. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Noelle. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. I love you and I love what you stand for. I love what you do. Just talking the last couple of minutes behind stage, we were talking about what you were creating, and it was like literally setting my soul on fire. So thank you so much for bringing your gifts to the world. Why don't you tell my viewers a little bit about who you are and what you do and what you bring to this world, because it's so beautiful and it's so magnificent. And thanks for being such a big light in this world.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited to share kind of what I do, where I came from, kind of my whole journey. I know we can't get into all of it today. There's a lot to it, but as far as what I do, I'm a professional speaker. I am a coach. But what my real passion is at this point and where I'm headed is I'm developing what's called the Reality Practice Network. It's rolling out here next month, and my focus is really just on awakening the world, as many people as possible, to the truth of who and what we really are and our abilities that we all possess. I mean, we are magical beings that are capable of anything, literally infinite possibilities. And we've just been so asleep. We've been so programmed in the way of thinking that we've forgotten kind of who we are in this whole process of the remembering of what we're capable of doing. So my whole goal in life, my purpose, is to share this knowledge with people. And through the network that I'm building, it's going to be a place for everybody to come. And we're going to have so many different personalities on there, so many different guides that start at the bare minimum, the beginning of how quantum works or how spirituality works, all the way up to expert level, to where like you might hear, like you and I could watch one of the experts talk, and it's like makes perfect sense. Whereas somebody else, if they're not quite there on their journey yet, they literally could hear it and be like, it's like talking Chinese, no clue what it is they're saying. So this whole awakening that we're experiencing, it comes in levels and it comes in stages. When we're ready to journey to the next level, what do they say? The teacher will appear. So
when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Yeah, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I say that all the time. Thank you for that. And so let's talk about the awakening and what it truly looks like to go through your spiritual journey. Because on this channel, we go deep into the quantum fields. We talk deep about spirit science and spirituality. We merge science and spirituality on this show. So some of the symptoms of when you are awakening and understanding the different levels of consciousness is such a big thing of what you were talking about, right? And so I think one of the most important things is honoring where everyone is at along their spiritual journey, honoring where everyone along their level of consciousness, understanding that, that's spiritual maturity at that point, because so many people can have emotional intelligence, but true spiritual maturity is understanding that people are at different levels of consciousness and just accepting where they are. But let's talk about what it looks like to navigate your beginning of your spiritual journey. You and I are deep into the quantum. I mean, I teach the quantum, right? I have 14 years of grad school in quantum physics and psychology. And so let's talk about what that looks like. My credentials are all the science, but I studied for 5 years to be a shaman. So I merged the science and spirituality, but the spiritual journey part was probably the hardest part for me. How about for yourself?
It's been a magical ride with its ups and downs for sure. It's scary. It's hard. It's frightening, but it's the most fulfilling and magical journey once you set out on it. It's we hold ourselves back from the stories we tell. It's everything in our reality is just a story that we're telling ourselves. And for so many of us, we don't want to tap back into those stories. We don't want to tap back into those memories that really reveal the purpose of who and what we are. But they're just clouded in what I call the veil and that illusion of the life of what we believe we're living. So, there comes a time and a point when things just don't make sense anymore, where everything that we've been told and made to believe is true, they start not adding up, I guess. And it's like, okay, one time, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, or the other way around, right? Fool me twice, shame on me. So it's like, once you start to realize things aren't what they appear to be, it makes us want to start asking questions, wanting to dive a little bit deeper. And for, I think, each person, that journey's different. It's so unique. For me, I was a very science-based person to begin with. If you could prove it scientifically, I believe it. I was never big into the concept of religion because it wasn't something provable. It was more about faith, which at that point, I didn't really know what faith meant, So I started on the science journey, which then opened the door. Once the quantum became real and known that this is what's happening, it provided an opportunity for infinite possibilities. I could now allow myself to start imagining anything I wanted instead of what I was programmed to only believe was real. I was no longer confined to those beliefs. I could start to imagine a future that I wanted to see become reality. And for me, it involved a lot of going back into some dark places that I didn't even know I had. I mean, don't get me wrong. My life has not been easy. I was abandoned at birth by my biological father. I was sexually abused as a young child. I've got Tourette syndrome, so a lot of issues with that. If you notice me twitching or like blinking, whatnot, that's what that is. I got involved in drugs, alcohol, sexual addiction, you name it, anything I could do to kind of fill the void that I didn't know what was wrong, what was missing. Long story short, I tried to commit suicide multiple times in my 20s. So life was just kicking my ass, more or less. And I didn't understand why. I didn't know what my purpose was or what I was even doing. And when I started to question, when I started to go deeper within myself, it started to reveal some of those truths to me. I started to see behind the curtain. I live in Kansas, so Wizard of Oz reference, it's like I took the curtain and literally the wizard
saw yourself,
was there.
right?
Yes, I could see the wizard and he's back there pulling all the levers and stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, I have control here. This is not what it appears to be.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about multiple realities and understanding the different timelines and jumping times. I teach quantum jumping, and I think that that's super important to understand is that there's an infinite field of possibilities that we can tap into at any time, right? And so understanding that this is truly the Christ consciousness for me. It's God's source, the universe. It's all of it for me. And understanding Christ consciousness at the highest level, that we have that power that was taught for so many. Literally, like throughout history, in every single religion, every single spiritual book that's ever been written, it's the same thing across the board, right? So let's talk about multiple timelines and understanding the electromagnetic fields and understanding how to tap into a different reality.
Absolutely. The first thing I think, and this is one of the harder aspects, I think, of really tapping in and understanding how the quantum works is there is no time. Time is the only thing time is what we perceive it to be. It doesn't actually exist. There is no past. There is no future. There's only right now. And whatever frequency whatever energy you choose to harmonize and resonate at is the timeline we're on.
Yep.
I look at it like if you imagine a infinite, as far as the eye can see, of light bulbs, all turned off, as far as the eye can see, all jumping realities, switching dimensions, whatever you want to call it, timelines, all that involves is understanding how to connect this light bulb to this light bulb over here and turning the switch on. And instantly we just switch to that light bulb. And maybe you want to go to this light bulb next or that light bulb next. It's a matter of frequency, of resonance, understanding how to harmonize to align into that frequency. And then we start talking about the idea of, the law of attraction. That gets a lot of play. Like everybody talks about law of attraction. It's magnetism. That's how everything
works. It truly is. It's the electro, which is your thoughts and your heightened sense of emotion, which is, you can have a heightened sense of anger and then anger is going to show up. You could have a heightened sense of joy and joy is going to show up. And that's why I always say that you get to choose, and life is going to happen to you, right? I mean, especially along the spiritual journey, that's when you go through the dark night of the soul. And when you merge the science piece and the spirituality piece with it, it truly does navigate it. But you and I have figured out how to dance with the universe. And it really is the coolest thing in the world is that you are a vibrational match to exactly what is showing up in your life. And this is really big quantum, but everyone on this channel can handle it, is that your present moment is actually your past vibration, right? And so we create, and the only way we can create our future is to be right here in the center of the present moment. And so you want to explain that a little bit, because I could go into depth with it, but I know you know the concept as well. So let's talk about that, because it's so important to understand that what's showing up right now is what your vibration was to match that vibratory field, right? And so how you change it is you have to literally shift your vibration and shift your frequency, but maybe talk a little bit about how to do that.
You're spot on. And the way I thought of it as you were speaking there was, when you think of a broadcast being a live broadcast like this show, it usually isn't instantaneously going out. It's got that 7-10 second delay from when we talk to when it actually goes out to the world. So I imagine that's kind of how our reality is being created. You said we're not in the present moment. We're actually experiencing just that moment before the present moment, but it's all being programmed. It's all an illusion. We're living in our own individual movie. We are all the actors. We are all the stars, the supporting cast, all the extras. Everything around us is part of our movie. And the way we choose to see them, the way we choose to feel about the things we see in our environment, it's that loop. It continues to create the next moment, and the next moment is coming and being created by the previous moment and all the previous thoughts we've had prior to that moment.
And all the previous thoughts are generations have had, right?
The
energetic fields are, infinite of everything that's all existent. And it is my belief that everything's already created, and we tap into the reality that is already created, right? And so it's not like we're actually creating a new reality. We're tapping in and we're a vibrational match to whatever it is that we want to. And what is going on in your inner world is just a reflection of what's going on in your outer world. So if what you don't like what's showing up in your outer world, then you have to do the inner work, right? And that's where the missing piece is the law of attraction is so wonderful and beautiful, and it's, really big right now. But what people don't understand is that, you're really just a vibrational match to whatever it is that the frequency within inside of you is emanating out and that's what's coming into your world. And if you change your vibration and you change your thoughts, your thoughts become patterns, your patterns become your beliefs, and your beliefs become your reality, right? And so in that sense, let's talk about the internal guidance system, because you and I, we live by this, right? We hear, feel, see, know things, and we just move through life, and when we're feeling anger, when we're feeling sadness, when we're feeling hurt or guilt and shame or a lower vibration, right? You and I have the tools to navigate through that. Let's talk about what to do if you do that, because if that's showing up, you actually have the choice of choosing the opposite. And that's just a key. I believe it's God's source of the universe showing us that we're not headed in the right direction. It's our soul saying, hey, yo, you're in anger right now. This is not this is what's going to show up in your reality if you continue in anger, right? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's a great question, great topic to go down, because the idea is, everything that we perceive is happening because of some external trigger. We have to remember that the external trigger was created by us as a way to get a reaction out of us. Are we going to see that we create this reality, whatever it is? Are we going to be triggered and react negatively, or are we going to be triggered to react positively, or are we going to not be swayed in either direction? I think finding that balance is really where the key lies. It's like we don't want to get too high or too low. We have to be able to recognize that we're the creator of it. And why? The question is, why did we create the chaos? Why did we create that pain? What is it we're trying to learn and grow from? Everything's a lesson. We're trying to learn from the lesson. And until we conquer, till we accomplish the lesson to be learned, it's going to continue to repeat itself and manifest itself over and over again, maybe in the exact same way, or maybe a different people, different circumstances.
Ways.
Right. You say, oh, I always end up in toxic relationships. Everybody I date, toxic. Okay. What are you trying to learn from? Because you keep creating a toxicity that you're manifesting. Nobody else has control of it. I tell people there's only you. There's only me. There's nobody else but me. But you guys, everybody else is here as a co-creator in their own individual kind of universe. We're all harmonizing simultaneously at a similar frequency, but my reality is slightly different than your reality and is slightly different than another person's reality. But it's similar in the aspect that we're all living this reality, but
your reality could be completely different 2 seconds from now. You get to choose what vibration you want to be at, right? And so that's the important key, is that it's constantly a choice of your emotional body, right? I say you walk through the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the energetic body, and all of them are teaching you. If you're in contraction in one area, then you can't be in contraction and expansion in the same space, right? So if you're in contraction in one of those bodies, say you're in fatigue, you have brain fog, you're holding weight or something in the physical body, or your anger, or you're in the emotional body, or you're mind looping and have anxiety in the mental body, all of those affect your energetic body, right? And so when you're in contraction in one, you're in contraction in all, because you can't manifest from contraction. You can only manifest, you can manifest from contraction, but that's what will show up. You can't manifest your best life or your highest self from contraction. It's only from expansion, right? So let's talk about decoding your DNA, because this is my favorite topic, and I actually talk about this in my quantum energy training course. I certify quantum trainers, and I teach people, I teach them light language, which I think is this most important thing that within the quantum world. It bypasses all of your neural net pathways, and it truly moves you into having the direct connection with spirit. That's the most important thing. The other is decoding your DNA and healing your physical body, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how all of the years of science and now quantum physics is completely changing, Newton's laws and all of that, right? So let's talk about recoding your DNA and how that looks in healing your body. And I experienced this studying shamanism for the last 5 years. I'll have a bladder infection, and then 10 minutes later, it's gone. I had literally been in a car, not a car accident. I had a spinal infection 2-3 years ago, and I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. And they said I wasn't going to be able to, I was paralyzed they said I was going to be for a very long time. It lasted literally 4 days because of this work that I do. But it took me 4 days to move through it, but it could have lasted 4 months. So let's talk about recoding your DNA, because it's such a fun topic to me.
Absolutely.
I love it so much.
It's still such an emerging science. I think Dr. Dispenza is bringing so much light to the possibility. We're all our DNA is programmed in certain ways, and it's even being programmed when we're in the womb, and it's all being programmed through our neurotransmitters, and that's coming through emotions. The emotions we feel attached to those neurotransmitters create those neural pathways, which are then solidifying that belief, that core belief that you think to be your reality. That's your go-to. That is what you will continue to go to as your concept of reality, because it's so well ingrained. It's like you've dug a rut in the snow, and it's so big you can't get out on the left side or right side. You're just kind of stuck in that rut because of those neural pathways. And I've found that they are attached to our emotions. And deeper than that, I found what I did in my healing, I went back and I used the concept of compassion, forgiveness, and love. And that is the three components I used to go back and literally rewrite my history, rewrite my DNA. I have, over the past few years, I blew my knee out a couple years ago, and I literally, through the power of my own mind, rewrote and rebuilt my knee, which is now healthy as can be. No surgery, no nothing. Our bodies are continually reprogramming the cells. That's science. They're regenerating themselves every 90 days, every few months. So the idea that we don't have control over the way our bodies are being built is bullshit. We literally just don't know how to do it. So it's really tapping into that infinite, that quantum field that exists of energy. And for me, I envision my perfect body built with perfect DNA. When I was incarnated, when I came here, I was built perfect in every molecule. It's only over the years and the thinking and my actions that have caused those DNA chains to change and manipulate into something else. So when I go back to try and heal my body, I envision that perfect blueprint. I see it in my mind, and I roll out the blueprint of my body, of the DNA, and I talk to that blueprint. I talk to my body, and I encourage it to rebuild itself in the form and in the perfection that it was before I injured myself or before I was sick. And I just allow that conscious thought to take hold in there. And it has truly amazing powers.
Oh, it's incredible.
Tap into it. Yes.
It's incredible. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we are going to talk about radical forgiveness and how compassion and radical forgiveness truly, truly does change the quantum fields. And we will be right back, guys. This is so exciting. I love today. Thank you for being here, Joey. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. I am Noelle Agape. I'm a quantum energy trainer, an NLP trainer, and I'm a health and wellness counselor. And I'm here with Joey Kramer, who is a quantum trainer as well. And he talks about truly tapping into our DNA and recoding our DNA. I love what you said in the first segment about compassion and understanding that you rewrote your DNA through forgiveness and compassion. Let's talk a little bit about that, Joey, because that is such a huge, powerful tool. And I use gratitude and love and compassion. Radical forgiveness is, not just forgiving yourself and the situation, but also not forgiving the person and the situation, but also forgiving yourself for being in that situation, right? And for living at that vibration. Let's talk about how compassion and the vibration of compassion and the vibration of forgiveness and what that looks like in the quantum field, and the difference between the vibratory fields of when you're in anger or when you're hurt or sadness or guilt and shame.
Okay. Yeah. Compassion, for sure. It has its own vibration. If you've seen the documentary about water, I can't remember what the name of it is, but there's a documentary out there. It shows how water,
It's amazing.
Yes. And it shows how water moves to different vibrations, and how anger, like loud music, like symphony, the water makes a beautiful snowflake, whereas heavy metal, it like explodes the
Mm.
molecule. And it's so much proof that what's going into our bodies, those molecules, the frequency is having effect on us. So that idea that compassion, forgiveness, it's part of the fundamental, Christ consciousness, the
Mm.
universal consciousness. We can either create out of negative or we can create out of positive. The negative is the anger, the manipulation, the fear. The positive is the love, compassion, forgiveness, and that frequency that it resonates.
Beautiful.
So, I've in going back doing the work I had to do, I really had to get real with myself. I had to go back and remember a moment that I'd forgotten all about. And I realized I'd been blaming myself my entire life for the way it had turned out on the events of the past that I didn't even remember until I went
Mm.
back and did a past regression, meditation on it. And I was able to put myself back as a 5-year-old boy.
Mm.
And I saw my biological father, I saw my biological mother and me. We were all on a trip, and down to Texas. And I was able to see kind of at that moment, I was in my own body and I saw what I felt before and after. And
Mm.
I jumped into my mom's body and I felt what she was feeling about this meeting. There's a whole lot more to it, but I was able to go into their bodies and into their minds of all three of us. And I could feel the fear and the
Mm.
anxiety and the desire that we all just wanted to be loved, but we couldn't quite figure out how to make it work. It wasn't meant to be. Um, at the end of the day, this experience I had, I went back, I saw I saw everybody in a new light, in a compassion that I'd never felt before. I was able to forgive them in a way that I realized none of this is their fault. This is all my fault in reality. This is all just the story I made up in my mind about what I thought what my past was and who I believed I was.
Mm.
So I go through all this healing at this moment, and at the end of it all, I'm like at this total peace. Like
Mm.
everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. And there was no more blaming myself for what I thought happened or should have happened. I was able to see it all from a new light. And it gave me this sort of peace and just happiness with it all, right? That I'm right where I needed to be. So what happened next was I call my mom a couple days after this experience I'd had, and I get to talking with her, and I tell her how much I loved her, how
Mm.
much I appreciated everything she had done for me my entire life. I was like, thank you. You made me the man I am today, all the bad, all the good. I love you so much. And uh, that opening up to her, that compassion, that forgiveness, that love that I showed to her opened up a door within her that never
Mm.
would have been opened before had I not done the healing. And what she revealed to me at that point was, I said, I went back and I forgave Robert. Robert was my biological father. I said, I went back and I forgave him for abandoning us when I was born and not having that father figure in my life. And because I forgave him, I said I was at peace. I'm I'm just I'm in a great place, Mom. And that's when she said, "Well, I've got something I need to tell you. I've been lying to you your whole life."
Wow.
What? She said, "Only your uncle and your Robert and her were the only people in the world that knew about this." And I said, "Okay, go on. I'm in a good spot." I'm like, "Well, you can't tell me anything that's gonna screw me up at this point. I feel great." I said, "Go on. What's going on, Mom?" And she tells me that Robert is not my father.
Mm.
From out of nowhere, 41 years of believing this guy was my father, all the bullshit, all the pain, all the excuses I made about me blaming him. I went back, I forgave him for all of it. And the second I forgave him for it, this new reality presents itself. And she
Mm.
says, "He's not your father." I said, "Really? Go on." She says, long story short, she enrolled in a experimental program in Kansas City back in 1978 called in vitro fertilization. And I come
Wow.
to find out that my father was not an abandoning, alcoholic, womanizing piece of crap that I blamed him to be for ruining my life, right? I come to find out that my real father, my real biological father, was a doctor at the hospital who had donated to the program. And at that moment, it was the understanding that, oh my God, I'm not who I thought I was.
Mm.
I am the son of a doctor. And now both of my children are the sons of, or the grandchildren of a doctor. And it just instantly,
Powerful.
the whole paradigm, the whole reality shifted from I
So
used to
let's
tell
talk about
myself this.
paradigm shifts and looking in your identity, because that's such a huge component of, when you're attached to an identity and you're attached to a paradigm, you're attached to a new reality, you are in contraction energy, right? Because you're not expanded to
Mhm.
the rest. So thank you for that. Thank you for that beautiful story of understanding that you can shift your reality and the paradigms. And so when you're not attached to an identity, what does that look like? And what does it look like when you are attached to a paradigm and an identity?
Hmm. The identity we give ourselves is whatever we choose it to be. Unfortunately, we are programmed at such a young age.
Mm.
Do this, don't do that. Become this. What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, it starts at such a young age. We just kind of get bombarded with this sense of who we believe we should be or are supposed to be out of, you know, societal norm. What our parent, we want to make our parents happy. We want to make our spouses happy. We want to make our children's happy. And it really comes down to, again, at the end of the day, there is nobody else. There's
Mm.
only you, and you're
Mm.
only battling your own interpretation of who you believe you are. And we can
Mm.
be anybody. We can have any identity. As crazy as that sounds, you were put here on earth. You are the universe. You are your own individual universe. You get to create any imaginable, whatever you want to create and whatever you want to become. It's possible. We've just restricted ourselves. I think John Maxwell talks about it. It's
Mm.
one of the laws he calls the law of the cap. I think we all put that cap on where we think and believe we can go and what we can become, when in actuality, there is no cap. There's no stopping. As far as you want to take it, as far as you want to go, it's there for you. You just have to have the courage, the belief, and the faith that it can happen, that
Mm.
you can do it. That's what God put us here to do, to create beauty and not live in a life of fear and struggle and anxiety. If we're all just a little part of God, you think God wants to come to earth and be like, hit me, give me as much shit as you can lay
Mm.
on me. I want to handle, I want to tackle all of that. No, he's like, I want to have fun. I want to experience beauty and love and life and joy. So
And
that's
that's,
my
my brand is Soul on Fire, right? And that's literally why I created that exact thing, is to ignite the passion within. That passion within is with God within you, right? And let's talk about that. Let's talk about God within you. And you and I are both living from our purpose, and we're giving back, right? Things come through us and we bring it out to the world. Let's talk about the difference between when you're living as God within you, that you are a vessel and it comes through you, and you're experiencing life and you're co-creating with the universe, God source universe, as opposed to just moving through life and trudging through life and grinding and the old paradigms that no longer work or resonate with most of the world right now.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that, and how one person, you and I, doing the inner work and
Mhm.
connecting back to God source, the universe, can change the dynamics of millions of lives.
Nice. I love that. We're all frequency. It goes back to
Mm.
that. We're all energy. And the power, from all I've learned, the power and frequency of love supersedes
Mm.
all other frequencies. Manipulation is very easy. Fear, anger, very easy to create reality from that, because it's kind of like the fundamental building blocks of creating reality. But to really harness the power to create wisely, to create from beauty and love, we have to learn to we have to eliminate those negative energies that are coming in, that are trying to keep us stuck, and we need to elevate to a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of love. Once one person does it, we affect those around us, and we've got our energy bubble, right? And that bubble just grows bigger and bigger. The more we give, the more love we share, the more we stop beating ourselves up and trying and feeling that self-worth, self-doubt, the blame. We have to eliminate all of that and realize that life is amazing. Life is beautiful. Life is here to experience all the joy and to share it with everybody. I've always found creating for others is so much easier than creating for yourself, because you're giving from that service to others as opposed to service to self. And it makes the process so much easier.
Yeah. And understanding that as we spoke about before, that your emotions are your guidance system, and that you can actually transmute anger into happiness. You can, lack into abundance, and it's transmuting the energy. The energy is never, it goes away, right? It's just transmuted. And so we get to change that, right? We as souls, we have chosen to come in here and actually come from contraction and move into expansion. And we have to make a conscious choice. And on a daily basis, you and I are very, very healthy, right? So we take care of our body, we take care of our mind, we take care of our soul, and we take care of our spirit. And it's super important to understand that it's not just one component. You can't just eat an avocado and go to the gym, or you can't just sit and do energy work all day, right? You actually have to take action every single day to being at a higher frequency and working towards the frequency that you want, because there's momentum behind it, right?
Absolutely. And that's kind of the idea of mastery, self-mastery. It's all four of those components, but you can't just do one. You're absolutely right. We've got to combine them all in order to try and find that perfect harmony that allows us to tap into the infinite source, the infinite wisdom, whatever you want to call it, the universe, the Akashic record. It's called a lot of things. But when we harmonize and we find that balance between them, it starts to open up pathways and doors for us to start to consciously create. We're no longer creating out of fear. We're no longer creating out of anger or greed even. We're creating out of compassion, forgiveness, and love. We're seeing the world as we choose it to be, and then we're allowing that to play itself out. Repetitive thoughts. If I continue to think love, if I continue to think harmony and peace, before too long, I'm going to only see harmony, love, and peace. I'm not going to see the distractions that are everywhere else around me. If I don't see the distractions, they can't get into my subconscious mind. They cannot create an unwanted reality if we no longer allow them to exist in there. Not saying be completely like head in the sand. It's awareness. It's just understanding when that trigger comes, when that emotion spikes, the awareness to recognize it's there is the first step.
Well, I think awareness is such a key word that you just said. I think living as an aware, I believe with all of my soul that spiritual maturity is living in awareness, right? Because it's being cognizant of where you are and where you can be, and making a conscious choice to do that on a daily basis, right? Oh, I'm feeling anger. Why am I feeling anger? What is this teaching me? Oh, okay. It's teaching me that I'm not feeling enough right now in this moment. Oh, it's teaching me that I'm feeling jealous, right? And so it's showing you exactly where you are, that you get to choose something different. This is so powerful and so wonderful. We're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about you and what you're doing, because it is fantastic, and maybe some key takeaways of how people can actually raise their vibration. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned for more quantum work with Joey Kramer. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. Thanks for those that are watching live. Thanks to those that are watching the replay. We're here with Joey Kramer, and we will going deep into the quantum fields and talking about manifesting your reality, decoding your DNA, coming from compassion and love, and understanding forgiveness, and moving through that to raise your vibration. Thanks for being here, Joey. We appreciate you. Let's talk about what you are doing with my reality practice, because this is so tremendous, and I really believe that this is going to transform so many lives.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to talk about it. It's been about 6-8 months in the making, which has been a couple years in the making, actually. But when I finally took the jump and started putting out my own videos, my own content, the idea was to teach people, to help share my journey with the things I've learned along the way, the compassion, forgiveness, and love, and how we use our imagination to create reality. And it's grown, it's evolved from there. And what I had come to me just a few weeks ago, we discussed earlier, is what's rolling out this coming April. And it's going to be what's called the Reality Practice Network. And I'm creating a network for everybody to come and learn from. And it's going to have personalities. Right now, I'm working on finalizing the first 12 personalities that'll be on the network when it launches. And everybody will have their own exclusive shows teaching their own aspects of how we create our reality. Somebody, I might have a couple people that are talking about quantum physics. Some people are going to talk about health and wellness. Others are going to talk about the power of imagination. Some are going to talk about spirituality. It's going to be kind of an all-inclusive, covering a variety of topics about this awakening we're going through. I don't feel there's a one size fits all out there. And that's what I'm trying to create, is a community where everybody can come, find the show, find the personality that resonates most with you. I may not resonate with everybody for sure, but there's somebody that's going to resonate with each individual listener. And that's the goal of it, is to bring together amazing people, amazing teachers, amazing guides that you can follow, you can jump in and watch them each week. And as you learn what's happening, as you learn what they're teaching, it's going to give you the opportunity to go deeper with them. They're going to have, resources and exercises that you can actually put into action and start creating this reality you desire. You're going to have the opportunity to work with them, coaching programs, or even one-on-one. We're going to build it out and start doing retreats around the world. We're going to have conferences. I know you're all in on
I do all of this. I check all of those boxes, just so you know.
Yes. You came to mind when I first had the thought of it. It's like, oh my God, I got to have you on the network, because it's really a community of guides and teachers helping everybody. We can't share this information, this knowledge enough. I mean, it just needs to be blasted out there everywhere, because the more people that understand our true power, that understand who and what we are, the faster we're going to make this shift, the faster we're going to evolve in our consciousness to no longer worrying about the fear, the material possessions, the greed, the things, the paradigm that's kept us in the timeline we've been in. That's going away. And this new reality, this new earth where abundance exists, where people are able to live their life the way they choose to. There's no more of this being constrained by having to go to your 9-to-5 job. You now get to do what you're passionate about and make a difference in the world. If you want to go lay on the beach, go lay on the beach. The point is, we're all just here we're all gods playing amongst each other. So let's start acting like it. But we can't do it until we learn a little bit more. So that's what the network's going to be there for, is to really help teach, guide, and awaken anybody and everybody to our true potential.
I love that. That is, and thank you. Thank you for bringing that to the world, because that is magnificent. And I am all in, and you have my support, and as much as you need behind, definitely. We will connect after this. But what a beautiful gift you are bringing to the world. I am so proud of you. Thank you for that. Thank you, really. So, Joey, let's talk about a key takeaway. Somebody that is like trying to, move into a different reality, but doesn't have quite the knowledge that you and I have. What are some steps that you could teach people to do to, on a daily basis, make conscious choices to raise their vibration, truly remember who they are from their soul, and come back to, having God source, the universe within them, and connecting back to that?
Right. First things first, everybody, if you're not already doing it, I'm sure your audience, the majority of them meditate. That's just hands down. You've got to start meditating. I know a lot of people, I couldn't meditate when I first started. I couldn't visualize. And it's hard for a lot of people. But it just takes practice, right? So what I would suggest people do is, when you start meditating, go into this space, start identifying certain things that have happened to you in your life, good, bad, indifferent. Start really remembering portions of your life and start trying to see how they worked, how they played themselves out for your best good. Everything is happening for us, not to us. And we got to get out of that mindset of woe is me, the universe, why is God punishing me? No, nothing is a punishment. Everything is a lesson and a blessing in disguise. So when it hit me, the reality, bless you, when the reality of it all,
done a podcast before. Thank you.
You're good. When the reality of it all hit me, it was like I said, the curtains were drawn back, and I could start to then see everything in my life, why it happened the way it happened. It's like all the pieces of the puzzle started to fill themselves in, and they just started to make sense to me. Over time, I began to lose that victimhood, the feeling of blame. I started to see how everything had always worked out for me. And don't get me wrong, people experience terrible things, the loss of a child. I mean, just horrible things happen to people. Nobody likes to hear that, oh, everything happens for a reason. It's hard to approach that subject, but the reality is it is happening for a reason. And we just have to, the acceptance, the letting go. That's probably the biggest. Letting go of the control we think we have over, especially the past, because as we talked about earlier, the past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. There's only now. So why are we trying to control something that literally does not exist except in our minds? So the awareness and understanding that there's right here, right now, everything's happened for us, and start to see the beauty behind the chaos really is kind of the phrase I like to use on it, because life is chaotic, but there's beauty in everything if we can just see through the illusion of what it's there to teach us.
I love that. So what I heard is that you have to live your life through awareness, being aware of your emotionals, your body, but taking accountability in that same space of where you are, and also understanding that we get to change our reality, we get to change our vibration, we get to choose our frequency, and I believe with my soul, through your pain is your purpose. And you and I are living proof of, we've had very, very, very dark paths, and we had if both of us told our story, I'm sure there would be tons of tears, but we have overcome, and we've found the light, and we found the love, and we're bringing that out into the world. And so there's always a purpose for everything that you are going through, and it is showing you and is teaching you where you're in contraction. Instead of moving into the contraction, see how you can move into the expansion. Right. That's beautiful. That I love that so much. And so tell us a little bit about what you do. Are you doing any coaching programs, or you're truly just working on now just the reality network? Because that's fantastic, and I'm so incredibly impressed with that. Thank you for that. But are you doing any individual work where people can work with you,
yes,
tapping into their realities?
Yes, I am. It's not my sole focus at the moment. Yeah. Building the network is getting that off the ground. There's revenue streams there, but it's the idea of I'm here to give and provide as much value and content and knowledge is possible. And I know that the universe will take care of me. You know, I don't
Mm.
know how it all is going to play itself out, but it will come back. So do I actively coach people? Yes. You know, I have limited spots at this point with everything I'm doing, but
Sure.
I can usually take on 1 or 2 extra clients a month. And you can find me at my website's myrealitypractice.com. You can schedule a 30-minute consultation with me and kind of see where you're at. I'm fairly selective on who I work with, because I find if you're not at a certain understanding level, then there's nothing I can work with you on, very little I can work with you on to make that massive transformation. So it's kind of if you're the right fit, I'd love to see if I can help dive in and figure out how we start recreating that reality around the version that you desire most. So yeah, I've got that. I'll be rolling out here next month as well a 10 days to heal program, which will be a 10-day course that walks you through each day a different aspect of what I did in order to rewrite my DNA. You know, I can't guarantee everybody's going to be able to rewrite their DNA and time travel, but that's kind of what I tell people I did. I traveled through time. I rewrote my past.
I teach astro traveling, and it's so fun. It's my most fun thing that I teach, for sure.
So yes, I absolutely do that. I'm always looking for clients, but like I said, I'm pretty selective right now. But if you think you'd be a fit and you want to learn more, I'm happy to schedule a meeting with you and see where it goes from there. Other than that, yeah, I do have a present I was going to give your audience. If you go to my website, myrealitypractice.com/on fire, all one word. So /on fire, I've got a access to what I put together. It's the 7 best books to help you create your reality.
Wow.
And they're all free. You know, they're all linked to the free audio versions, but you know, I've got stuff in there, books in there from Napoleon Hill, you know, Florence Scovel Shinn, Joseph Benner, I think A Course in Miracles I've got in there. All of these books will literally, if you just listen to them, will change the fundamental principles of how you understand and view reality. They're truly life-changing, and it all begins from within. So yeah, myrealitypractice.com/on fire, and go there and you can get access to that playlist and work your way through it.
I love that so much. And so what was your favorite book out of all of them that changed your life?
All of those are great. Out of that list, my favorite one on that list is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. That's like the one book that nobody knows he wrote. You know, it wasn't released for, I think, 40 or 60 years after his death.
Wow.
And that one there, literally, I don't know how many times I've listened to it. It just blows your mind, the depth that he went to and was able to correctly, you know, interpret the human conscious and how we think and how fear and how the perception of the devil, like an evil and whatever you want to call it, the perception of it all, but it's all just within our mind. And it's just mind blowing, you know. But my favorite book of all time, though, and I've got a few, but my favorite one would be The Law of One, the Raw Material.
I love that. I love that one too. Mine is probably the Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. I think I've read that probably the most in my life. It is life transformational. So final question, my love, what sets your soul on fire and ignites your passion within?
My soul is set on fire. My passion comes when I'm living my true identity, when I'm living a free and sovereign existence. I'm creating my reality out of my choice, and no longer I don't allow exterior circumstances to interfere with my version of reality. Like that's what drives me. And then sharing that, now that I've learned how to do it, I just want to show people that it's possible. You know, my goal, honestly, is to awaken and help inspire 1 billion people around the world by the time I'm done. So, you
Let's
know,
do it. Yay.
let's
Let's
do
fly
it.
down the
Yeah.
rainbow together. Well, I adore you. I think you're amazing. I thank you for bringing your light to this world. We have so much big things that we can do together, and I am all in on your reality practice, for sure. I love that. I honor you. I think that you are such an amazing human. Thank you for being on this show. So one more time, your website and where that everyone can find you, for sure.
Yeah. myrealitypractice.com. If you do /on fire, you'll get access to the 7 best books to create your reality. I'm on Facebook at Joey Kramer. You can find my page at My Reality Practice. I've got a private group as well on Facebook, My Reality Practice as well. And I'm on all the podcasts, Apple, Spotify, My Reality Practice with Joey Kramer, I think, on those. And Instagram handle is at Kramer Joey. So I'm all over the place. If you just type me in, you're going to find me. But don't get me don't get me confused with the drummer from Aerosmith. He stole my name years ago. So I'm the real Joey Kramer.
You are the real Joey.
Pretender.
That's what your Instagram handle should be, the real Joey Kramer, right?
I need to start that one up. Absolutely.
Well, I honor you. Thank you for bringing your gifts to the world. I love what you are creating, and I look forward to, I know this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship with you and I, and we're going to create magic together hopefully on your practice show. And if not, then you're welcome back here anytime. Thank you again, Joey, for being on here.
Noelle, thank you so much. Thank you to your audience. I'm so excited I got to meet them and be introduced, and I can't wait to talk with you again. I can't wait to figure out what show you're going to do for the network, and we're going to hit it out of the park.
Let's change the world, baby. Love it so much. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon, Joey. Thank you. Wow, guys, what a powerful show. We went deep into the quantum fields. We talked about decoding your DNA and understanding how love and compassion and forgiveness truly brings you into the Christ consciousness. You are God force universe in a physical body, and you get to live the reality of your dreams. You are more powerful than you will ever know. And all I could say, guys, is please, just if you're struggling, if you're living in fear, if you're living in anger, if you're in hurt or sadness or guilt and shame, you can transmute your vibration. You can transmute your reality, because thoughts become patterns, and patterns become beliefs, and beliefs become your reality. And at any moment in time, you can change who you are. You can change your identity. You can change and live the life that you want to live. I am so blessed to be on this journey with you, and I am so grateful for you. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Send it out to the world, because we want as many people as possible to truly set their soul on fire and ignite the passion within. I love you guys from my soul, and you are more powerful than you know. We live in an infinite universe. Stand in your power. The world needs you more than ever. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.